It is my distinct pleasure to inform you all that we have left the channel. We are now firmly in the Bay of Biscay. We are about to cross over the continental shelf of Europe. I guess that's what this is. I'm going to say that. I don't know anything about oceanography, but that seems reasonable to me. So yeah, we are entering the Bay of Biscay, which in later years would be terrible news, but for the time being, this is the place to be. This is where all the cool kids hang out. And look, it's even 4:20. Well, it's 4:10 now, until we get to our next destination, but I digress. Yeah, we had a very uneventful passage getting out of the channel after I last spoke with you all. We had a plane that passed us over. Wasn't really all that scary. I didn't record it. I'm sorry. I don't know why. It's been a little. It's been a couple days actually since I've recorded, so I'm not in the right mindset, I guess. I'm not professionally tuned to provide you optimum content, and I'm very sorry. But I do want to take a moment to share with you something I've learned thanks to the efforts of one Jack Dancer, who has helped me decipher this alphabet soup, as he calls it. Ah, shit! I'm trying to teach these good people a lesson, and you insist on interrupting. Well, it doesn't matter. We're going to get under, I think, in plenty of time. But, I'm not even going to bother looking at it because I'll misidentify it. We all know. But while we make our crash dive, I'll explain what this means. This is a method of classifying and identifying ships based on their mast and deck structure. You have Ks, you have Fs, and you have Ms. And then you have combinations thereof. A K is what's called a king post. A king post is what I have often erroneously called a crane, but it is a king post with a boom attached. It's a crane, but that's the technical correct term to describe it. The F is for funnel, which I sometimes again call a stack, and then an M is a mast, which is just an upright projecting mast. It's kind of I don't know how else to explain it. So let's talk about what this means here. There are combinations. We'll get to that, but we're going to read this as though it's describing the structure from front to back. So K would be a king post. King posts generally come in pairs, so you'll see two king posts, and that's what K means. KM is two king posts that are joined together with a mast coming up. Then we have KF, which is a king post next to a funnel. So somewhere in here, I don't think I can rotate this now, but somewhere in here there's a king post that's right by the funnel. It's probably this right here, actually. And that's probably a pair of king posts again. Then we have K, which is another set of king posts, which is right here. Kind of hard to see. Then we have KM, which is another king post mast, which is this structure here. And finally, another king post back here. So that's how that whole system works. Let's see if we can find another one. That one's a little bit different, but this is good. King post, mast, king post, funnel, king post, mast, funnel. Oh, that is a funnel. Yeah, so that's anything that's not a mast that's sticking up and probably provides ventilation of some kind for the ship. So let's go through a couple more just so that I can get myself trained. Oh, this is a fun one. King post, mast. Now, the tricky thing is that a mast sometimes can still have a boom attached to it. I don't know what distinguishes that type of mast. There's like a KS, for instance, which is a single king post. So maybe that isn't used in this. I don't know. But that's apparently a mast. King post, king post, king post, mast. Wait, I lost the plot there somewhere. Funnel, king post, mast, funnel. This is a funnel here. So that's how that works. I'm just gonna kind of cruise through. Oh yeah, there is a KS. So single king post, funnel, single king post. See, we're learning. So that's how that whole rigmarole works. We have not been attacked by that plane, meanwhile, which is very good news. Where was he operating out of? Maybe from a carrier group? I find that sort of unlikely, but it's possible. Anywho, just wanted to take the time to explain that all to you wonderful, wonderful people, and hopefully it will be of aid as we attack juicy, delicious, sweet convoys in the sea ahead. For now, we're going to stay under, avoid that plane, and probably, well, let's take a turn at the hydrophone. Why not? Silence is golden. Oh well. We'll stay under and continue on to our destination. I just put us under again after replenishing the battery, and I hear something. Now, that is a pretty wide angle to be hearing something, and hearing something so faintly. And my heater's going on in the background, so you may not even be able to hear that, but there's definitely some engine noise there, so I'm going to mark it. It's about 10 to 40. See if I can do this correctly. Just do 40 here. What's the scale with that? Let's zoom out a bit. I'm going to try to get it accurate as far as the range. I don't really know how far away they are, but... And then 10 degrees. I can read that. Because I didn't get a visual contact, so I'm assuming that they're at least 15 kilometers away. Whoever is on hydrophone decided also not to let me know that they're there. Ison and Variax, good work! Idiots. So we do have contacts, though. That's encouraging news, because we were going all this way without any contacts whatsoever, and I was getting a little worried, although I guess I got this. So, but we do have something here. Now, let's give it a few minutes. Let's give it a couple more minutes, I guess. We've been yammering on for a bit. That's taken some time. And let's take another listen. So that starts at about 15. That's noticeably louder. And it ends at about 45. So they are getting closer. Let's draw that out. There's no real technique here. By the way, this is just how I do this. This is not a thing. Oh, whoops. See? I don't even know what I'm doing. 15. It just is for me to kind of get an idea of possibly where this is without having the benefit of the lines that sometimes get drawn. So 15, let's start with that. There are other more scientific methods, but I'm not much of a scientist. I'm just in the business of sinking ships. I'll tell you what. So, I mean, that gives me kind of an unrealistic idea in some ways of what these are and where they're going, but it gives me a way of kind of assuming that they're probably heading north. Is what we're getting at here. Now, it is well, it's actually earlier. It's probably about 11:17 where we are now. So it's early in the day. So with that in mind, I think it's probably a good idea for us to turn around and wait until it gets a little darker before we actually make an approach on these. Now let's surface the boat too. Go topside. We completed our turn? Yes. So, where are they? Look over here. Well, I don't see them. That's okay, though. I feel like they should possibly be in visual range, but let's... Or not in visual range, but I should be able to see their smoke, for instance. I guess not. Alright, well, this is a little interesting then. I'm gonna proceed on the surface for a little bit. I'm going only 5 knots. So, unless it's a very slow convoy. I think it's a convoy, by the way. I think that we're dealing with multiple ships because of the width of that angle. Usually when you detect a ship, a single ship at maximum range, it does have there's an angle. It's not like it's just one specific spot on the hydrophone dial. It's going to be about 5 degrees, though. That was a lot more than 5 degrees. Tell you what, I'm going to dive. Let's look behind us here, actually. Yeah. I mean, we could just have detected them at the extreme maximum of our hydrophone, and thus they wouldn't even be visible to us, but let's just make sure we haven't lost them or something like that, or that I wasn't woefully incorrect about my this super duper scientific technique of figuring out where they are. This is just a guess. There's nothing more to it. If they widen, really is the big thing, that means that it's very likely that they're getting closer to you. Unless they've turned or something like that. So, again, that's something where I would benefit from actually learning a proper method. Okay, so that's quite loud. And that's 255. Now let me get the other. Was 255 about? It's 254 technically, but again, this is imprecise. 255 to 215. Yeah, see, 40 degrees, that's a lot of range for just a single ship. Oh, I see. Okay. So 255 would be... right about... there? I can't read that. It's okay. I can't see that, but I think that that's correct. So, I mean, that to me lends credence to the theory that they're going north. Interesting that I can't see them, because it does seem like they are getting closer based on the increased width of that angle, or that increased angle. I am moving my periscope around very quickly. Still nothing. Okay. Well, that is actually good, in a way. So what I'll do is I'll proceed on the surface. As I mentioned before, it looks like they are heading north. So I feel comfortable continuing on like that. And what we'll do is we'll try to at least get some kind of visual confirmation that there's ships there. And then wait until nightfall, really, to make our attack. That's probably the best bet for us. Because if we try to attack a convoy in the daylight, it probably won't go super well. I have a feeling that they're very close. I don't know. They just seem really loud to me. Maybe I'm just used to ships being quieter? I don't know. I also don't want them to outrun me. Alright. Well, I don't see them. I'm going to continue to monitor this, and I'll let you guys know if they show up. That is exactly what I'm looking for. We've got smoke on the horizon. Got one. Any more? Two. Oh, shit. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Fuck, that's a lot of ships. I reckon that's a convoy, folks. So we've got one stray ship over here, and then the larger body of ships over here. They are moving very slowly, by the way. I put us under just to make sure I could still hear them. And I stayed under there going very, very slowly, and that's the only reason I think they've been able to catch up with us. I was only going at 7 knots, and they've been basically unable to overtake me. So they could be going 7 or slower, I would guess. 8 is typical, but these guys are taking their time. They have no reason to be scared. Now, this guy's way off to the side of all these, which strongly implies to me that it's an escort. And even in this early stage of the war, by the way, that's probably another escort, because he's also somewhat distanced from the rest of the convoy. Emma is bored with my descriptions of how convoys work. I'll cut to the chase, Emma. How about that? Jeez. Tough crowd. Usually a convoy, even at this early stage of the war, will have a couple of escorts at least, I hope. Well, that would be nice if there was just 2. But usually there's 1 on each side of the convoy, at a bare minimum. Of course, we can't see the other sides of the convoy, so there could be more, there could be less. Who knows? But at this point, we see a very large convoy with 2 escorts. I'm pretty excited. I like our chances here. Now, this is a good opportunity for us to go on the surface. Now that we've got them a little bit closer to us, now that we can be assured that they're still there. We'll keep going this way, but we aren't going to attack them just yet. Because... scope down. Leave that thing hanging out. So you can see it's very bright out, and the sun is out. See? Ah, it burns so good. Take a look at the ships with my binoculars, if I can. Yeah, so there's 1, and it's got 2 plumes of smoke coming out of it, it looks like to me. That's typical for destroyers. They do tend to have 2 stacks. We're actually kind of close to them. Thank you. Yes, I recognize that. And so that is probably another escort. Okay. So we've got a whole mess of them to port and somewhat aft. Well, I guess aft of port. Behind port. So we should pump up the jam. Hey, gang. Let's pump up the jam. And try to get ahead of them a bit more. See what we're going to put out. We're recharging, though, right? Not for long. I bet they're going 7. Well, there's some zesty targets in there. And I think we're undetected as of yet. So, what I'll do is I'll keep... moving ahead of them, hopefully. How's our recharge going? I could turn it off. How about we just turn it off? Because that's not a huge difference. So we'll continue on, and I'll get us into a position to make an attack, hopefully. And we'll share in what will undoubtedly be a hugely successful attack on a defenseless convoy. Well, it's not defenseless. It's got at least 2 escorts, but gotta go through the process, get everything lined up. Personally, I'm very excited. That is a lot of ships. I'm looking forward to this.